So a quick heads up to this 5-minute quickie. It's all about how do you get over expecting a no and getting a yes. And these things can, as we always say, they will change your life for the better. And you'll never know how far the ripples of this change will go, because they will go so far. Have a listen.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
So why is it? Why is it what, Cluffy? Why is it that we always expect to know? Well, generally. It's not always. So I'm generalising. So generally, why do we always expect to know? Hi, by the way, Paul here, and I want to share these thoughts I was having because it seems so I get the words out. It seems so strange when we have wonderful things that we want to do. I hate the word self-sabotage, but things where we just don't do it. Do we go for that job? No, because they'll probably reject me. I've got this great idea and I want to share it with people, and they probably won't get it. They probably won't listen, will they? I mean, that's like another no, isn't it? We just don't bother, do we? Because no one will agree with us. I mean, what are your go-to no's, as they were? Because we do, don't we? There's things that we want to do. Maybe, I'm going to do this and do that. No, not really. I won't probably be accepted into that group, or it'll be too difficult, and they'll go, no, whatever. Now, you see, I was thinking about this, and I began to think in a way that, well, I thought, why? I just wanted to understand, what's the intention? What's the intention of, like, our unconscious mind getting us to think that we're going to be rejected? Maybe I thought, well, that hurts, doesn't it? Being rejected hurts. We can be disappointed in a lesser way. We can put ourselves out there, be totally vulnerable, and that vulnerability might get us hurt. So I guess it's that simple form of protection. But the real big but. I don't normally say buts, but I'm going to say a but. How do you really feel when you don't follow through? You don't go for that job. You don't share that idea. You don't say what you're thinking. You don't express. You don't connect. You don't be that real you and all that stuff. You're not vulnerable. Don't you feel disappointed? Don't you feel hurt inside? Don't you feel a little bit like a failure, I guess? You fill in the blank. How do you feel? I'd like to know. But how do you feel when you hold yourself back? Maybe self-sabotaging yourself, which isn't the thing, because it's not self-sabotaging, is it? Because if you think about it, the intention is to protect you. So if I only have this thing of saying, no, I'm going to hold you back because I don't want you to be hurt, then that's my real thing I'm trying to do for you. And that's good, isn't it? That is good. Because if I've got an unconscious mind that's always going to protect me, and it does, therefore that's wonderful. But the thing is, not when it's creating a conflict. So what are you talking about, Cluffy? Conflict. Well, you see, if I, as your best friend, want to protect you from being hurt, disappointed, and thereby what I do creates hurt and disappointment in you, fear of failure, all that, I've got a conflict, because what I'm doing is actually creating what I don't want to have happen. So there's a conflict. And here's an example. Think of someone who has a fear, maybe a fear of heights. I'm talking about a real fear of heights. I've had people working with me that just thinking about going somewhere, which would mean going over a bridge. I had one guy who had to go into the back seat of his car, not driving, obviously, someone else would drive him, but he'd have to get into the back seat of his car and not cover himself up, but look into the seats and not look up until he was over. And that's crazy, isn't it? And you say, that's a form of protection to keep you safe. And you used to say to him, well, how safe did you feel when you were climbing into the back or even thinking about it? He said, oh man, Paul, I felt so unsafe. There's a conflict. Unconscious mind wants to keep you safe from, falling off that bridge, which you're never going to do. But just in case, I'll scare the living bejeebers out of you. So you don't go near the edge. And I'll keep you safe by not making you feel safe. Big conflict. Now, I believe that when your unconscious mind discovers that there is a conflict in what it's doing, from its intention and the behaviours and what it's creating by those behaviours, it has to find a better way. Unfortunately, sometimes it just doesn't know a better way. It doesn't know. It's so ingrained. It's in that groove that it finds it. You need to break the pattern. And that's what we do in therapy. But one way of breaking the pattern is to explore the conflict. Not by accepting it, because you know what I always say, never accept these things, because if they're not right, if you accept them, you're giving them permission to be right, as it were. But just acknowledge them. This is what's happening. Because when we just acknowledge it and just think of, what could that intention be? What are you trying to do for me? Then you'll just notice, well, how do I feel when it happens? And you'll see that they're exactly the same thing. So it's just not working. And when you recognize that, it's as if the unconscious mind goes, oh, I've got to find a better way. So how can we find a better way? Don't leave you hanging. Here's a how. One of the things you want to do is say, well, what's the worst that could blooming happen? If I shared that idea, what's the very, very worst? Am I going to die? Of course you're not going to die. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. What's the worst that could happen? Someone might say, that's a stupid idea. Okay, if I think about it, that's just an opinion. Maybe I'll ask them then, why do you think that's a stupid idea? Show me where it is so stupid. Because it's not me being stupid. They think the idea is stupid. But then when we talk about it, we might find actually they have some validity in their critique, as it were, and we can mould it into the right way. So what's that worst that could happen? Going for that job. Yeah, you might not get it, and that might be the best thing that ever comes to you, because you go, do you know what? I really didn't want that, but at least I know now. What's the worst thing that can happen if you try something and you don't like it, and you are I can't call you failure, but you don't succeed in the way you want to? You might just say, do you know what? That's not for me, and I'm glad I've done it now because I've learned. Wow, they're real big ones, aren't they? Just forget that old emotion and just say, I've learned from it. And when you've learned from it, you don't need the emotion. Then you can say, well, let's put it another way. What could happen if I did it and it was successful? And you go, oh, well, if I did get that job and I was successful and I really did like it, then I'd be elevating my career. I'd be meeting new peers. I'd be extending myself, stretching myself. I'd be giving myself opportunities. So what could happen if I shared my idea and it was accepted? Well, people would spur me on, maybe. I'd feel really good about it. I'd probably think of more ideas. I'd get motivated. And that's not better than it is. That's how it could be. Now, all you need to do then is think then, what belief would I have to get that yes? To go through it? Even if it failed, the worst that could happen, what belief would I'd have to get the best result? That's different. And when I think about having that belief and succeeding, what type of emotion would I have? First of all, what emotion would I have in succeeding? Ooh, that feels good. And I've got a bit of gratitude now, but I feel like a sense of achievement. I feel stronger. I feel whatever you fill in the blank. Knowing that, what type of emotion and behaviours would I need to have and use and be to go through that event and get that successful completion? Oh, now we're thinking of alternatives. Not the old way, which doesn't work, but now we're thinking of alternatives. And then just go, well, what other way? And if you ask this question, I wonder what other way I could use to get a better result. Now, you don't have to think about the answer, because now you've said, I wonder what? And your unconscious mind goes, that's a good question, Cluffy. I'm going to find out. Well, he might not say Cluffy to you. She might not. But she'll say, and he will say, inside, that's a great question. I'm going to find out. And suddenly, you're going to start getting ideas. And that's what happens. So all you need to use is your imagination. Your imagination to think about the future in a different way, the way you want it to have happened. And your unconscious mind doesn't understand what is real and what is imagined. So when you start imagining those successful completions and the feelings that go with it and the gratitude that goes with it, and notice you're acknowledging the intention. Yeah, I've still got this intention. I'm safe. I feel good. Whatever that blank was. Your unconscious mind goes, well, this is such a better way, and it gets the result I want. And the other one wasn't. Hey, guess what? And that guess what will be, you'll start doing those things. And that's awesome. So forget whenever you get a no in your mind, this is a simple process. And in simplicity, there's genius, good old Albie Einstein. Just go for it and play. And when you do it in a playful way, you've already got an emotion that's going to be positive. Get that positive belief. What positive belief would I need to have? And as soon as you think about it, how does that make you feel? Well, that will make me feel good. Please do just play with it. Let me know how you get on. Every time you hear a no, think of this, do something differently, and notice the result and learn by it. So yeah, let me know how you are affected by this. It's not personal development. It's feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. That's the email address. Send them there. Everything is confidential. I'll reply to you personally. And we'll just share things because that'll be awesome. And here's the one thing I don't want you to do. I don't want you to share this episode to everyone. I don't want you to subscribe, and I don't want you to send a lovely review in. I really don't. Hey, that was reverse psychology, and I don't feel comfortable doing it because, you might believe me. Hey. So, I really don't. Do I? I do. Have a think. Have more fun than you can stand, and I'll be chatting with you next time. But let me know how you get on. Go and play with this. Make fun. Have fun. More than you can stand. Hey, it's Cluffy, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye now. We all need time to de-stress, don't we? We all need that space. Everyone needs space. Our own place of personal retreat. And going to retreats are great. But if you can't, why not have one in your mind? If you don't go to that special place, that stress just builds and builds and builds. But if you have a place in your mind where you can go and de-stress, work out problems, think of all the wonderful things that you'll be able to do. The wonderful feelings. So that's why I've created this program of 4 hypnosis tracks to build and be and have your own inner retreat. You can have whatever you like in that inner retreat. There could be rooms, there could be libraries, healing rooms, different lighting, maybe a fire in the corner, a special chair, maybe incense, anything that you choose. Some people have a computer that stores all the memories you've ever had, that library of everything you've ever read or everything you ever need to know. Maybe a healing room, a room where you can just go to and have your own inner healing or own inner relaxation. So what have I done? I've created these 4 tracks. 1 to build, 1 to extend it whenever you need to extend it, and then to be able to go there for a particular period of time or even a longer period of time. So you've got 2 tracks of just going and being in that special place where you can, take a problem with you, maybe muse it over in that special place, or you can leave it there, leave it to incubate in your unconscious mind. So when you come back, well, you can just have the answers come, or they might just come consciously. It's all there for you. All you have to do is go to paulcloughonline.com/retreat, have a look, give you a nice little video there, just see if it's for you. I think it's a lovely little program. There's nothing to lose because there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's a lovely program, and I think it was one I wanted to do for myself because I just thought it's such a wonderful thing to do. I love retreats, but hey, this is your own personal one. Have a look. Enjoy.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.